Pope Leo's Peace-a-Palooza, a holy mess in St. Peter's Square. In a spectacle that could only be described as divinely chaotic, Pope Leo XIV kicked off his papacy with an inaugural Mass in St. Peter's Square that left 150,000 attendees, including Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky and U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance, wondering if they'd stumbled into a peace rally or a comedy special. The event, billed as a solemn call for unity in Ukraine, Gaza, and Myanmar, instead became a masterclass in holy absurdity. The sermon that launched 1,000 memes picture the scene: St. Peter's Square, shimmering with history and grandeur, packed to the brim with pilgrims clutching rosaries and smartphones. Up strides Pope Leo, his robes billowing like a superhero cape, mitre perched jauntily atop his head. "My children," he boomed, arms flailing with such gusto that a nearby cardinal ducked for cover, "let us unite like the fingers of a hand, each different, but all essential." The crowd blinked. Was this a mass or a motivational poster? Undeterred, the Pope pressed on with a metaphor that will haunt Vatican speechwriters for years. "Peace is like a pizza, everyone gets a slice," he declared, beaming as if he'd just solved world hunger with a Domino's coupon. Zelensky, seated in the front row in his trademark fatigues, leaned to an aide and muttered, "Does he think Putin's a pepperoni guy?" Vance, meanwhile, offered a tight-lipped smile, clearly calculating how to spin this for the next campaign stop. "Hug it out, Your Holiness." Then came the moment that turned the Mass into a viral sensation. In what the Vatican later called an impromptu gesture of goodwill, Pope Leo invited the crowd to hug it out. What followed was less a kumbaya moment and more a geopolitical pileup. World leaders, pilgrims, and a few confused tourists collided in a tangle of awkward embraces. "I think I just hugged a dictator," one attendee grumbled, brushing off his jacket. Another was overheard lamenting, "This is why I stay home and watch Netflix." Zelensky, ever the trooper, found himself sandwiched between a nun and a guy in a Make America Pray Again hat. Vance, meanwhile, executed a stiff pat on the back maneuver that screamed, "I'd rather be anywhere else." The Pope, blissfully unaware of the chaos, waved from the balcony like a game show host hyping up the grand prize. Pope-palooza takes over by sundown. The Vatican's PR team was in full damage control mode, issuing a statement that the Pope's words were meant to inspire, not to be taken literally. Too late. Social media erupted with hashtag Pope-palooza memes, think Pope Leo flashing peace signs in a tie-dye chasuble, or photoshopped atop a pizza box labeled World Peace Special. One ex-user quipped, "Next Mass, he's dropping the mic and starting a dance party." A holy misstep or a bold new beat? As the pilgrims dispersed and the square emptied, the Vatican was left to ponder the fallout. Was Pope Leo's peace offensive a visionary reboot of papal tradition, or just a pontiff tripping over his own enthusiasm? One thing's for sure, in the quest for global harmony, even the holiest of leaders can't escape the occasional stumble, robe-related or otherwise. For now, the world watches, waits, and wonders, will the next Mass bring incense and solemnity, or a conga line for peace?